This month, we hit $185,000. Kyle shared a screenshot of our collections an hour before we closed. So I would like to set the record straight. It was not 184, it was 185 plus.
She's always right.
And we are very excited about that, even though it is what, 30% lower?
Yeah.
30% lower than our record month, which was January 2025 at 235,000. We are freaking stoked because we have 4 doctors right now fulfilling our chiropractic service and are intaking our new Shockwave patients compared to 7 that we had in January of 2025. So we are at almost 50% capacity of fulfillment, and we are hitting $185,000. So we'd like to take this opportunity to jump into what we're doing specifically and strategically at Verve, because I think we get so in the weeds of what we're doing that it just seems like another month for us. It's very normal and regular, but like taking a step back and looking at what we're doing, $185,000 across 3 clinics is an aspirational feat. And I think, first of all, we need to celebrate it. So something we tell our clients all the time is celebrate the wins. We need to figure out what we're going to do this month to celebrate. But also, let's break down exactly what we're doing. So if you have 1 clinic or 3, you can kind of reverse engineer your actions to potentially hit the numbers if you're not quite there yet.
Let's do it.
Let's dive in.
I'm excited. I'm in a good mood.
Me too.
It was fun yesterday to celebrate and see, I don't know what it is with the end of the month, but I feel like all of these pay in full packages come in. And so our team Slack across all 3 offices was 30 visit pay in full, 26 visit pay in full, boom,
12
boom,
visit
boom.
Shockwave.
Yeah, Shockwave, Cairo, boom, boom, boom. And it was yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's one thing that we did this month that I think changed our team's morale is we started giving them a percentage, a bonus pool, and they essentially get a % of top line revenue. So where before we had KPI based bonuses that they hit if they hit certain performance metrics, and it was a flat amount that they would get for X performance. Well, now it's uncapped. So
Yep. I love that.
You do more, you get people to commit to care, you sell more, you make more, baby. If we win, you win. And I think our team got really inspired by that. And so that's why you see those last minute things coming in, because they're like, where can I find opportunities? We had one of our offices go to wellness members and say, hey, you want to renew your wellness package because you're running low? I'll see if I can get you the grandfathered rate that you paid last time. And sure enough, I was like, yeah, go for it.
I love that.
Yeah. And so it's been really cool to watch our team be incentivized.
I thought they were just coming due. She was proactively doing that?
I think so.
For the month?
She didn't tell me that, but I'm assuming so.
But that's what we've been trying to install into their mindsets for months, is that strategic, forward-looking kind of viewpoint. So, yeah,
it's working.
I get it. I mean, look, I was in sales roles for a long time, and that's why it was hard to leave corporate for so long, because it was uncapped potential.
Right.
I can make $1 million tomorrow. I never would in a software company, but the potential technically on paper was there.
It's true. If our team made $1 million on their bonus incentive, we would be fucking crushing it.
Oh yeah. We would not have 3 locations though.
No.
But is this the fuel to finally get everyone aligned, one team, one dream?
Yep.
To then go open more. And I think for a long time we swore off, we were never opening another one. 3 is so much babysitting and hand-holding from the team perspective. And now it seems like we're starting to fire on all cylinders, and we're still not even at full capacity, which is just mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing, right? I think we had to recalibrate, and I think we expanded so quickly and we felt unstoppable that we were like, go, 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 go. And we didn't really take a minute to reset everything. And so
build real systems, because now it was one thing when you were in practice and you could oversee the text messages going out or the process that the front desk was doing or what your associate was saying. Hey, next time say it this way.
Right.
Can't do that at 3 locations.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what they're doing all day, every day. And I don't want to. I want to be able to trust that they have that mindset, but it is not something everyone is born with. And that was a tough lesson to learn.
Totally. Well,
But
and I think we also hired the wrong people. We were just trying to
yeah,
get butts in seats. We wanted to fill the spots, and like we talked about in our hiring episode, I think that was 2 episodes ago, we kind of took people that were good on paper, and we didn't necessarily filter for our culture as
hmm
much as we
hmm
should have, and I feel like we're at a point where I could choose to focus on the negative, right? I could be like, "Oh, we're at half capacity, and we don't have enough support, and we don't have enough fulfillment, and how can we that's I'm gonna stop that right in its tracks, right? Like, that's the mindset piece. But I think that even though we are at half staff capacity, we have the right people. Like, we have finally filtered out everybody who didn't fit in our culture. The people who were, like, trying to clock in and clock out, didn't really wanna come and, like, grow. They weren't really interested. I remember I was like, "Hey, let's do a personal development book club, I'll incentivize you guys. I will literally reward you with money if you read these books." And I had one who was like, I'm really busy, so I don't think this is gonna work for me. And she gave us her resignation, and it's like, you know what? Good. I hope you find somewhere where you can go and clock in and clock out, do exactly what you wanna do, and that brings you peace and joy in your life.
yep,
And I'm happy that you're not here anymore because that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are all about our mission, who wanna get better every day, and we've got those people now. So I feel like this recalibration season has been so painful, having months where, like, we're paying payroll and we're paying our overhead, but we're not taking much home. Like, that has been rough, and having team members who don't really care, not feeling like we want to go into our offices, having to just spend hours and hours and hours with Claude, refining our systems and finding things that will actually work, processing freaking refunds. Like, it's been a tough season, and now that we're on the other side of it, I'm like, "Whoa, it was all worth it." I see that recalibration, and I think in the past, I looked at recalibration and I was like, "Oh, yeah, you just kinda, like, sit and idle and enjoy, the good stuff." No, it's like
you get dragged through the mud.
you get dragged through the mud and you figure out the thorns that you need to remove. You remove those thorns, and then the end of the recalibration is you standing up from being dragged through the mud. You don't
hmm
have thorns in you anymore, and you're like, "Okay, now we get to move forward."
Yep.
And I'm excited. I went in yesterday to one of our offices, and like, I thoroughly enjoyed being there. I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with our team. I got excited by them, and I think they got excited by me being there. It's a really cool place to be, but I would love for us to kind of dissect the top of the funnel down to the in-office operations that got us to 185 across 3 locations this month with 4 docs.
Yeah. So that's $46,250 per doctor, which again, we are really celebrating because if we were at full capacity of 7 doctors, that is about $323,000 in revenue. So it's like we are right there and we have, you know, job postings out. We're actively hiring. We had a final interview yesterday for a doc that could be a potential good fit, but it directly impacts our ability to advertise. So even with 4 docs, and now April was our first month where we were actively advertising Shockwave for the first time, even at a discounted rate. It was our first kind of foray into this new funnel, this new service, this new process. We definitely learned a lot. But what's cool is we brought in 173 new patients across all 3 offices. That's an average of 57 per office. And I don't have the numbers split between Shockwave and chiropractic in front of me. The vast majority of that was chiropractic. We've been primarily trying to shift away from pediatric a little bit as we start to get into some of the more wellness, adult minded niche and target audience. So we ran some adult campaigns, adult chiropractic, a prenatal chiropractic. We ran some pediatric. We ended up turning that off, I think, the first or second week of
Mhm.
April. And then we've been running Shockwave. So again, our ad spend is not small. We spend about 50 to $100 a day per office per campaign. So I honestly feel bad for any of our competitors in our direct area trying to trying to compete with us because the old adage I think is true in a lot of ways. It takes money to make money. I have more funds available to out advertise my competitors,
And let
which
me
is a superpower, but that
Yeah.
that may get people in the door, but that doesn't mean that they stay, right? And so you have to still deliver a great service. You still have to deliver a great experience. All of your other onboarding and systems have to be dialed in, or else you'll educate them, get them excited about chiropractic, and then they'll go right right down the street to a competitor.
It's just an expensive hobby at that point.
Yeah, you've done all the hard work of educating, shifting the belief, getting them open to this idea, and then you drop the ball, you fumbled the bag, and then there they go. So
Totally.
they all have to work in unison.
Absolutely. And I want to just remind people that, if you haven't heard this number before, you should be spending about 10% of your revenue on marketing. So for us, spending $15,000 to $18,000 a month on ads and everything that goes into our advertising and marketing, that's not unreasonable.
Yeah,
That's
it's in line.
10% for us, right? But if you're making $50,000 a month, you want to be spending about $5,000 on marketing, and that's not necessarily going to be all ads. That can be the events that you're throwing, that can be the relationships, maybe you're dropping coffee at different offices, doing lunch and learns. Any sort of marketing effort is all consolidated into that budget. But if you want to grow your business, you need to be investing in marketing, and I think that's something that a lot of clinic owners get a little bit gun shy on. They kind of get this mindset of like, that's spending money. No, it's investing. There should be an ROI on that spend.
Well, yeah, and it's even more, you want to see a bigger ROI? Learn the skill how to run your own ads and become the master of your destination. No, that's not what is that? Captain of your own ship? The fuck am I saying?
The master of your destination sounded great to me.
What I'm saying. In any case, I don't have to pay an agency because I know which buttons to push.
Right.
And I know kind of strategically the messaging and the funnels and the things like that we can just iterate and test and launch.
Right.
And so we're able to get really fast data and feedback loop of like what's working in office, what's not. And one thing I will say, the biggest challenge I see with any clinic that is starting to become open to running ads or doing their own marketing is they expect immediate results. And it is so crazy to me how prevalent this is. And I don't know if it's scarcity or people are impatient or it's like confirmation bias of like, oh, Facebook ads don't work. They bring in low quality people. And it's like, that is just one data point, one part of the journey. Every step tells us a story. If we are getting clicks, then we are stopping the scroll. Our ads are working. If we are getting clicks but not the leads, then something is broken there. If we're getting leads and they're not responding, then something is broken there. If they're showing up and they're low quality, then fix who you're bringing into the fucking funnel. Every step of the way, we are gathering data and testing and iterating and optimizing. If you have 6 people show up into your office and they are not good, that doesn't mean turn the fucking thing off. It means we need to fix and retool, but I digress. For us, we have 1 month of data for this new Shockwave campaign. And our systems broke, or they never existed to begin with because it's a brand new offering, right? So our front desk was like not cross-selling or upselling because they didn't know enough about the cues of like someone comes in for chiropractic only. Well, what's a good opportunity to talk about Shockwave? They didn't come in for that. It's like, yeah, but they're in our clinic and they have a fucked up shoulder. So
That chiropractic really isn't going to be able to help.
yeah, I mean, maybe it did, I don't know. You know more about this than I do, but
Right.
like, let's talk with the doctor and
Right.
say, hey, do you think they'd be a good candidate for Shockwave? Because if so, I can kind of bring it up to them on their way out. And maybe they can, explore that next time and we
Right.
start planting the seed. So, it's stuff like that in office where it's like, okay, if I were to just look at the numbers on paper, the Shockwave campaign didn't work. Sure, we made a profit. We had a positive ROI, but nominal compared to chiropractic. So instead of me just saying, "Oh, doesn't work, gonna turn it off," it's like, no, let's pull back the curtain here and figure out the story behind the numbers. What are we saying to Shockwave people? What are Shockwave patients saying to us? Right? And one of the biggest things we learned from our team is that, oh, they felt so much better after one appointment that they weren't scheduling or buying another package. Okay. So that doesn't mean that they're low quality people. It means that our communication and sales process sucks once they're in office, and we can do a better job of pre-framing that in the follow-up sequence before they even show up for their appointment.
Right. It's like the classic chiropractic problem, right? People come in, they feel better, and they're like, okay, I'm done. And it's like, yes, and I'm so glad that you feel better. Pain is the last thing that comes, and it's the first thing to go when we start treating. And so it's just a need to educate better, right? Like our teams are not telling people, I'm so glad that you feel better, and the healing isn't done yet. And this problem is probably going to come back if you don't continue care. And so I think you're totally right. It's an opportunity for us to improve our communication, to improve our systems. But also, if we're kind of looking back at our recalibration season, we didn't really have the ability to give the feedback to our team, receive the feedback, and then retool things because we didn't have a good system where we were communicating with them consistently. We had kind of middle management, and that middle manager was blocking things. And so we weren't getting good feedback, and therefore we couldn't change what was happening upstream. And so now what we've done is we've created a monthly in office meeting for all team. We bring all three of our locations into our central HQ office and we have a conversation with them. Do we have things to train on? Absolutely. But we're also getting their feedback. And it's like, hey, how did that go? Why is that person, not coming back? How many of these are you doing or are you selling? Are people wanting the 6 visit package? Are they wanting the 12 visit package? No, why not? And so it just gives us that like real time opportunity to pivot and switch and change things. So I think if you're not having good results and you're not understanding why, you need to be getting with your team more regularly to get their feedback because what I found is that my team is not going to proactively give this to me.
Right. And a question I think we need to ask ourselves, and by we, I mean you listening, is if you're getting leads and you're saying to yourself that they are low quality, are they actually low quality or is your sales process broken?
Right.
Could you be doing more?
Right.
Could you be pre-framing them more before they show up for the appointment? Could your CA or admin help educate and do a better customer experience before they come in for their actual consultation? Could you go a little bit deeper into the why and not run through the motions because you're busy or you've done this a million times? Are you using jargon and language that they don't even understand and therefore cannot absorb? Are we asking deeper questions, whatever? So, if the answer to all of those things are yes, I am doing everything, I've changed my process for a cold audience, we are really going above and beyond, and I'm still time after time after time, people are saying no for whatever reason, then we can change the messaging and try the angle of who we're trying to bring into that funnel. But I'm one of my biggest pet peeves right now is, oh, low quality Facebook ad leads. It's like, no, you probably suck at sales. Just
A-
let's be honest.
And it could be a combo.
It could definitely be a combo. It's not always that Facebook ad leads are always great. They're not. It is a numbers game, and that's kind of part two. But again, I digress. To combat this, we're hitting it from multiple angles. We're using the data to tell us a story, and we're trying to peel back the onion to understand what can we do differently. Another thing is obviously we have a big drop-off point. Now we have dialed in SOPs to be able to take credit card and pre-filter people who are not willing to either give us a credit card or prepay for that visit. At two of our offices, we have a newer office manager at one location, and you know, some patients got on the books without putting a card on file. And I think it was her trying to be like, I don't know, keeping up, or she was overwhelmed with the lead management. I don't know what the process was, but hey, we had to sit down heart to heart yesterday of like, that is unacceptable and can't happen. So again, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. 185,000. There is still a lot that is broken.
Mm.
And when you fix something, the next problem or the next office shits the bed or whatever. In a lot of ways, it can be like whack-a-mole, but you know, it's just a little bit here. We make incremental improvement here, incremental improvement there. And over time, we pick our heads up and everything is like good to go.
There are other things that we're looking to shift as we are kind of in this recalibration season. And one of that is our conversions, or one of those things, I should say, because we have docs who are crushing and we have docs that are not crushing. So we tested out a 1-day new patient process at one of our offices, and our conversion rate on average could definitely be better. We do a lot of cold traffic, but we're at about 60%. And this office was at 20%. Now, this is one of our newer doctors. So, there's still training and learning that's happening. But clearly, this system was broken. We were trying to save time and create efficiency on our schedule by not having an additional 20-minute, 30-minute ROF appointment, but clearly it wasn't worth it, right? And so that's one of the problems that we're trying to solve for now. So we went back to a 2-day process, and as we're bringing in our Shockwave new patients, we're trying to figure out the best method for these people to be taken care of. So in California, Shockwave can be performed by a chiropractic assistant, a medical assistant, somebody who's not licensed, and essentially they're working under the license of the chiropractor. So we have our CAs, chiropractic assistants, doing our shockwave therapy, but they're not doing the intake. The doctors are still doing that. So we're looking at creating as much efficiency in our scheduling and our systems as possible so our doctors can see as many patients as possible while still maintaining that quality. And so what we've done with our shockwave appointment is we've created essentially a 20-minute intake experience with the doctor that then gets transitioned over to our CA, and our CA and our office manager are able to finish out the treatment for the visit as well as kind of the selling a package, rebooking, all of that. And so now we're tweaking. If we increase the beginning experience with the doc where they have a little bit more time, a little bit more education, does that help to increase the conversion once they're with our team, the rest of our team? So it's just little tweaks like that. And I think that one thing that I've noticed over the past year, I'll call it, is that the more complacent that I get, and when I say complacent, I mean accepting things as they are, the worse our performance is as an office. The less our team feels cared about, the worse our numbers get. Like through and through, I'm trying to figure out how much of myself needs to be involved in these practices to allow the most optimal performance while also not killing myself doing it and being able to pursue other things. And I'm figuring out what that balance looks like. But I really do think that showing up and giving a shit, making your team feel like you care about them and care about their experience and what they're doing and like having people feel heard has really changed everything for us. And I know that that sounds a little bit dramatic, but the shift that we've seen in the way people show up when we have one-to-one meetings with them, when we check in, and even the kind of meetings where you're like, "Hey, Kyle, I'm seeing that you're not doing this and this is an issue because it impacts patient experience and it impacts our revenue. So moving forward, here's the expectation." Like that kind of check-in, direct communication, and clarity, I feel like makes people feel like you give a shit about them. It's not a comfortable conversation. It doesn't feel good to be told your performance isn't good, but the fact that I'm checking in and I'm like, "Hey, this isn't working and here's how we move forward together." It's like, okay, they want me to succeed, right? Versus like, why are the numbers looking like this? Why is your office sucking this month? Right? Which is like kind of the feelings that we had before. We were feeling frustrated with the team, but we weren't checking with them compassionately and directing them compassionately with like that direct communication. And so I think that that's definitely one thing we are trying to incorporate more as we move forward, finding that balance between, being present, but also not letting the clinics take over our lives. Because I think one thing that people think is that when you get out of patient care, you get out of the time you spend in your clinic, but actually the more removed you get from patient care, the more involved you have to be in operations, oversight, leadership. And I think that's just a really big mindset shift that needs to happen as you grow and scale.
You're trading patient cases or patient management for team management.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll be the first person to tell you that I don't think I stepped into having 3 locations with the skills and traits that I needed as a leader to begin with, because I honestly had no idea what was required to be successful in that, to be a good leader, to be an inspiring leader. And I've learned, it's been trial by fucking fire, man. But I think that that is one thing that people underestimate when they grow and expand to multiple locations. And I think it's the most important thing is figuring out how to lead your team well and how to make people feel heard and supported and cared about.
Well, and that's what was funny yesterday is I posted that story showing our Kyber HD, screenshot,
Mhm.
and we got numerous messages from people. I want to open more locations too, whatever. And it's like, do you? Are you sure? Because it's hard and it's different.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier again when you can hear your associate at the table next to you or your office manager on the phone, and it's a whole different ball game when you have multiple locations because you can't be everywhere at once. I think the one thing we did bring back is all team in-person meetings
Yeah.
and, you know, just making it casual, but like, here's what we're seeing. Help me understand the gaps. What are some of the feedback? And we can kind of shorten and collapse time a little bit between bouncing around to each office individually, and the semi-regular pop-ins, help. So I think just being present more is helping and kind of leaning on the team a little bit. But it was also like a good opportunity for us to talk to them about how we are seeing and the changes we are making. I think they like hearing
Being a part of it.
being part of it, but
Yeah.
also like, okay, it's not just Kyle and Danielle saying, So you got to sell, sell, sell. Why are your conversions low? Whatever. It's like, okay, conversions are low. Here's how we're going to be pivoting. Here's how we're going to take the feedback you have, not just from like the core data, but also the anecdotal evidence of what we're hearing in office, and then making pivots again to the marketing and trying to bring in a different type of patient into the funnel. So we talked about April. In May, what we're then doing with all of that is pivoting our prenatal campaigns to not focus as much on pain, but on birth prep. Why? That is someone who is growth minded. They are already probably investing in a birth team like a doula and midwife, AKA can afford services out of pocket and is likely a better fit for our clinic. So it's like, okay, how can we change the messaging to find that sub, audience? The other one was Shockwave. Well, we were just bringing in anyone. You got a knee, shoulder, hip, my parents came in. Are my retired parents at 65 the ideal target audience for Verve? They are for Shockwave because it certainly helped them. I don't know, right? And so what we're trying to test out now is like, how can we use Shockwave, but for mommy makeover or C-section scars, helping with, breaking up some of the scar tissue and reducing that because that fits in nicely with Mother's Day in May, fits in nicely with our women's wellness and kind of prenatal focus. And maybe that type of patient is not going to do one and done because it's more on the aesthetic side and less on the pain management side. And it's like, oh, okay. I would not have known that if our team had not shared that feedback of we've had a few C-section scar patients and they see quick results. Because that was my thought is like with a scar tissue type of angle, can you even notice it
Yeah, it's
right
like 2 or
away?
3 visits. They're
Which is
noticing a
what
difference.
which is wild.
Yeah,
I had no idea. So
so cool.
again, it's the feedback loop.
Right.
You can't just assume that Shockwave or this ad campaign isn't working if you aren't factoring in who you're driving into that funnel with messaging, your in-office conversion policies, processes, and talk track, and day one, day two, how you're upselling or cross-selling, right, between different services. And then also the anecdotal evidence of what people are saying, and then making the changes again on the front end. It all works together.
Absolutely. And honestly, from the leadership perspective, I feel like you and I were kind of on an island and our offices were each on their own island.
Yes.
And we were looking at the data and we were just using the data and coming back to the team and being like, make changes, make changes, make changes. And the team was kind of like, okay, well, do you give a shit about what we're experiencing? And the big shift that we've made and like taking full ownership and accountability here of like, that wasn't good leadership. Now we look at the data and we come to the team and it's like, hey, we care about your experience. What's going on in office?
Yeah.
And even if we make a decision that's different from what they're bringing to us because we take all of that information and we, move forward in a different direction, at least we're hearing them and they feel heard and they feel valued and they feel like their experience matters. And people who feel that way from the leadership team, they perform differently. They show up differently. They want to be a part of what we're creating because they feel like they're a part of it. They're not just a cog in the machine. And it's been enlightening and honestly more fun to be back in with the human element and feeling like the humans are a part of it. And I don't know, it's been a really cool shift. So I feel like we've had both this energetic shift in the way we lead and the way our team is showing up, and this revenue shift because of the shifts that we're making operationally, both in advertising and in office. It's a really cool blend, and I feel like if you're stuck, you can't look at one piece and expect to fix just a system or just a performance issue with one employee or, it's like it all blends together, and usually when one area is lagging or suffering, it's because there's a holistic kind of infection that's going on,
Yep.
right? It's like if your energy isn't there, if you're not invested emotionally, mentally, we've got clients who are burnt out. They're really struggling, like they don't really wanna, pour into their teams and then they get frustrated that the performance is down. It's like, well, it all works together. And so I think it's just been a good reminder for us. And I think, use our experience and look at your situation to see what pieces are potentially falling through the cracks and what do you need to do as a leader to pick them back up?
Yep.
Because you have
Exactly.
so much more control, so much more power over the way that things are running in your business than you sometimes give yourself credit for. So another thing that we're doing looking into May, obviously we're going to keep refining our ads. We're going to keep refining our systems. We're working on, conversions. We are actively and aggressively looking for the best new fits for our team. So if you know doctors or you are a doctor in Southern California or you would like to live in sunny Southern
Come
California,
join our team.
come join our team. We've got a kick-ass culture, but you got to be growth minded. Anyways, we're looking for good people, but we are also getting back into events. And now I feel like if you have one office and you're growing and you're doing well, you're probably already deep in your community and deep in events. And this is one thing that we really leveraged in the beginning to grow. And one thing that fell off quickly when we expanded to 3 locations, because I also can't be in 3 places at once with community partners. Like there is only so much of me to go around. And if I'm focusing on that, it's been hard to also then focus on my team and then to, be in office and
And then you have docs who don't even want to read a book, let alone network with other
right.
community partners. And
Yeah,
it's like, okay,
God
well,
forbid they spend 1 hour outside having coffee with someone or, like, going to a cool pop-up event. So, again,
goodbye.
we got the right team now, so I'm so excited, and our teams are excited too. I'm like, "Listen, I can sit here and I can create your marketing calendar for you. I can create acquisition events, I can create retention events, and I can tell you what to do, or I get you together at this in-person all team, and I have you decide what's exciting to you. You're a runner? Cool, let's go work the marathon. You love Pilates? Awesome. Let's do a pop-up with that studio. And so it's been really fun for me to kind of get back into that community and event aspect of marketing because I love that. It brings me joy. But to have my team excited about it because I can then put it on them. I can delegate this process of planning the events, coordinating the events, doing things that they feel excited about. And then I just get to be kind of the auxiliary. Like I get to show up and be a part of it and help them and support them, but not have to carry that entire load myself. So I'm really excited for us to kind of get back into our community and back into our events culture in May, June, and beyond. And I think as we develop more of our wellness side, we bring in the peptides, the IVs, the nutrients. It's just going to be a really fun thing for me as a creator, as a visionary to be able to bring our brand to life in a way where we just are like getting in front of people and making new, partners and friendships and yeah, so we're really excited about Verve in the next, quarter and so we'll see what happens and we'll keep you guys posted, but if you are not hitting the revenue that you want to, or if you are, but you want to push past the ceiling, if you are growth minded, you want to open multiple locations, look at your energy, look at your ops, look at your marketing, and come back next week because we are going to have a kick ass episode on mindset and the things that are keeping you stuck.
We'll see you then.